we're gonna go ahead and get started. And as y'all come in, man, we welcome y'all as y'all come in. But listen carefully to the words. At this time, we got my brother Kenny G. I'm gonna let him tell his story, but he is a former kingpin. This young brother is a former kingpin. I'm going to pass him the mic so he can introduce who is Kenny G. Go ahead, my brother.
Hey,
Introduce
God bless
yourself.
you. First of all, Mark, I want to take this time out to I hope I'm clear concerning what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I want people to know, that I appreciate any platform that invites me on concerning, my story. My name is Kenny G. My name is Kenneth L. Graves, better known to the streets of Delaware as Kenny G. Over the years, I'm a product of abandonment. So I've been on my own since I was 12 years old. By way of Chester, Pennsylvania, being abandoned, I came to Delaware and I became Triple OG Kenny G.
Okay.
And how that
Okay,
became
Kenny.
about, every O in my name is validated concerning the streets. I'm not into no other stories. I'm not in the fabrications. I'm not in the innuendos. I love truth more than I love myself. And if it wasn't for God, I know that I wouldn't be on this platform right now. I was sentenced to a 50-year sentence. One paperwork said
Let me
40
jump.
years.
Hey, Kenny, let me jump in. But before the prison, we got to go back to the lifestyle and what led to that. Like you
Anything
gotta.
that you ask me, I'm open.
Okay, when you said you was in Chester, Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes.
And you was a product of abandonment, and then you
Yes.
you ended up in Wilmington, Delaware. Talk
Yes.
about that. What was your state? What was you doing? What was your state of
Well,
mind, and what were you doing at the time?
okay. The start to see, first of all, I love truth. My parent, both of my parents are deceased. So I would like to give honor, glory, and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for even giving me the opportunity to have such beautiful parents. Even though I'm a product of abandonment. You know what I mean? I was put out at the tender age of 12 years old by my mother. But today I understand, I have a greater understanding as to why I was abandoned concerning my mother and my father.
Okay.
Um, it brings tears to my eyes, man, because a lot of people don't get the truth about your lifestyle and everything, and they have their own perception of what they want your story to be, and the truth never gets out.
Okay.
So I'm willing to tell the truth. Um, at a tender age of 12, my mom had dropped me off at my grandmother's house, butt naked in a snow blizzard. You know what I mean? I didn't have a stitch of clothes on. And my grandma, her name is Alice Graves, but her maiden name is Williams. And she took me in. And I went to Pencrest School. I know you heard of home tutoring. Home
Yeah.
tutoring. I went to school at my grandma's at a young age. And, going back and forth to school and everything, I got bullied. I got bullied in school and everything at a young age. And I took my father's gun to school. I got jumped on, individuals coming back doing home detentions and all that kind of stuff, and they jumped on me, and I waited on them to come back through from the Granite Run Mall through the woods to go to Pencrest School, and I took my dad's gun to school and my grandma's clothesline, and I tied them all to a tree, and I pistol whipped a couple of young men that jumped on me in school, and what happened was they suspended me from school at my grandma's house. And this is what they told my grandmother. They said, listen, Mr. Graves is so intelligent that he's too intelligent not to give him education, but he's too dangerous to let him come back to school. So what are we going to do with this young man? So I think that's how home tutoring became in Pennsylvania. It was two teachers that appreciated me that I was a good student and I was willing to learn. I was just a product of abandonment and with a dysfunctional household because my mother married my dad's brother growing up. So growing up in this household, my uncle was my stepdad. So just imagine a kid waking up in the morning, seeing his uncle with his mother. But at the same time, I'm getting ready for school. But I see my uncle kissing my mother. But I'm asking about where's my dad? But I'm getting ready to go to school. So you already know I had to go to school lumped up. I went to school
Mm.
beaten. And then when I got at school, individuals trying to talk me. They talking about their mother, they talking about their parent and everything. And I'm confused because I'm coming from a household and everything that my uncle is my stepdad and he married my mother. So I'm trying to figure out what do I call him? Uncle Stepdaddy John?
Mm.
What do I call this man? I know he's my uncle, but he married my mother. I know who my father is, but my father was never really in my life. So I ran away from home. I got kicked. I got put out the house. I was a runaway. I was in foster care and all those kind of things. You know what I mean? I lived on the streets. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying nothing bad about my mother. See, the Bible says, honor your father and your mother, so that thy days may be long amongst the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So growing up, I did have an understanding of God. I might not in the scriptures, but I knew who my mother was, and I knew who my father was, and I knew I had to honor that. But at the same time, it was kind of hard to honor what I didn't understand.
Right.
And I was beat for not understanding, Mark. I'm looking for my father, but I wake up in the morning to my uncle.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, now, but then I got dropped off as a kid, as a little lad. I remember I got beat. I got beat and everything. And to give you a small synopsis of that story, I used to come home from school and go to the market and everything and break dance and help people tie their bags to their cars and make some change. But it was around Christmas time. And I used to make a little money and everything, helping older people with their bags and everything. And I used to break dance and pop and do all that kind of stuff and make me a little extra money. But in the midst of all that, I was getting home late. So I remember one time that I came home late, but my mother had already called and said, "Where's everybody out?" Because my mom used to pass out chores. They said, "Where's Kenny at?" But Kenny ain't home yet. Kenny hustled. Kenny had to ask me because I'm trying to save up some money so I could buy my mom a carton of cigarettes for Christmas.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I come in and my mom's on the phone and both of my brothers are at the door. And they saying, "Mom's on the phone." I'm like, "Okay, but I got a pocket full of change." But unbeknownst to me, last week prior to this, you know how women go out and when they go out dancing and partying, they change their pocketbooks over. Well, my mother used to save dimes and cigar tubes. And when she used to change her pocketbooks over, she would take the tubes out of one pocketbook and put them in another pocketbook and get dressed and then go out. But she forgot that she transported her tube to another pocketbook and she thought somebody stole her money. So unbeknownst to me coming home from school late, trying to hustle, get a couple of dollars up so I could buy my mom a carton of cigarettes. I got a pocket full of change. I'm late coming home from school. My mother's on the phone telling my brothers, like, "Where's Kenny at?" But here's Kenny right here. It's 5:30. School let out like 3:30. Why are you late coming home? So my mom was like, you know what I'm saying? Check him out, see what's going on with him. So my brother Jim stole me. And when I fell and everything, my brother hit me and all the change and stuff fell out my pockets. So in my mother's mind, that's who stole my money.
Right.
You feel me?
So talk about like your feeling. How old were you at that time, and what were you feeling to be accused by your mom? Just explain that to us real quick.
Well, words can't even describe what I was going through because I didn't even understand it.
Okay.
All I know is I'm being beat for something that I'm accused of, and I have no understanding of what's going on.
Okay. So
All
what
I know
happened?
is what they're telling me. You
Right.
stole mom's money.
Okay. So take
And I'm
us
saying to
on.
myself, oh, go ahead. I'm listening, Mark.
Take us on to take us next.
So,
Um,
okay,
yeah.
you stole mom's money. They beat me. They beat me and everything. I ran away from home, stuff like that. The neighborhood's
Right.
looking for me and all that kind of stuff. Well, well, they found me like 2 weeks later. And it's other avenues. That's where we can go down at another chapter. But at the same time, the police brought me back home. When the police brought me back home, my mom told me go upstairs and take a shower. So, I went upstairs and took my clothes off and everything. And I know I can feel it in my heart. I'm ready to get beat. But I had already just got beaten by my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And the neighborhood's looking for me. You know what I'm saying? People that look, you better get home. I done got beat. By, back in the day, the neighbors could beat you.
Right.
You feel me, Mark?
So let me ask you this: if you can remember, G, where was you at for those 2 weeks? Do you remember where you were at, and how were you even living during those 2 weeks?
I was living in the streets, and I remember it was like how they sell trailer homes and everything. I was always
Mm-hmm.
crafty, so my mom ended up dropping me off butt naked in a snow blizzard to my grandmother's house.
Okay.
That's how I got to my grandmother's house and everything. As the police brought me back home, my mother beat me. I was in the shower. She came up there with a extension cord while I was in the shower, and I got beat with a extension cord. And I'm not trying to bash my mother or nothing. I just love truth.
Right.
What I mean? I love my mother. My mother, if my mother didn't treat me the way she treated me, I wouldn't be raw as I am today. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up butt naked in the snow blizzard at my grandmother's house on the porch. So
Okay.
I, I, I yeah, remember I told you I got kicked out of school, this, that, this, that. I ran away to my grandmom's and this and that. So I stayed. They got trailers up at the street up by Wawa. So back then they didn't have security and everything like they have now. All they had was a dog on the ground. You see what I'm saying? So I remember me just being, I don't have nowhere to live. I'm out in the world. I took my white friend that lived across the street from me, told him to hang with me. He ran away from home, and me and him
Mm.
went up to the trailer park where they sell campers at. And we went up there. I got my white friend with me, like we get buy a camper. So what I did was they showing me different campers and everything. I'm scoping the grounds out, and I seen all they got is a dog in the corner. So I'm coming back when y'all close. Because what I did was when they showed me the cameras and stuff like that, we went to a couple of them. I unlocked the doors. You know what I'm saying? We want to look at another one. So we go look at another one. I unlocked the door. So when me and my friend came back after hours when they closed, we found out that they didn't lock the door to the cameras that I unlocked. Boop. There we go. We in, baby. That's where we live at. I'm home now.
Oh,
That's where I live at. This is my new. Forget the dog, but I know we got to be off the grounds before the morning comes. And the only alarm that they have, or alarm system is everything is a dog on the pin in the ground in the corner.
yeah.
Well, me and the dog got cool because I stole from Wawa and I fed the dog,
Right.
so I'm good.
Wow. Right.
You feel me? So that's how that happened. And anyway, I ended up going back to my grandma's and everything, and started missing my family. My dad was an intravenous user. He was a drug user. He was a slash pimp. He was everything the streets was. You know
Okay.
what I mean? But I wanted to be my father. All my life, all my life, man, all my life, bro. I was just looking for my dad. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was my father, bro.
Right.
You hear me?
But listen, but Kenny, do this for me. Come to the time where speed it up a little bit to where some of the stuff that you did and you ended up in Delaware.
All right.
Talk
I
about
told my
that.
mom because out there in Lima, PA, 114 South Penn Road, Lima, PA. By the way, I gotta put this in there, Mark. My grandmother, her brother is the name Alexander McClay Williams. To make a long story short, Alexander McClay Williams was executed in 1931.
Okay.
That was her oldest brother, Alexander McClay Williams. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania executed my grandmother's oldest brother. You see what I'm saying? And he was in Glen Mill School at the time for stabbing Peter Robert 47 times with an ice pick. Well, he didn't do it. Her husband did it, Fred Robert. But what they did was they executed my grandmother's brother at 16 years old. The
Wow.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So listen, I'm gonna breathe past. They turned the 6 into an 8, made him look like he was 8. So my grandma was going through all that kind of stuff in her own mind, but at the same
Right.
time, she's trying to deal with a grandson that's a runaway, that's a problematic child, so to speak, with my parents. But my grandma knows the story that my mother married my dad's brother, and she just wants the best for me. But ain't nothing going on in Lima, Pennsylvania, by the grand law. So I'm saying, I gotta go. I heard my brother my brother was a DJ in Delaware.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find out, listen, I got to get to Delaware where some action's at.
Right.
Because I'm sitting at my grandma's on 114 South Pennell Road. Out the
Right.
window, my dad's never coming home. He's out in the street shooting dope in the projects. I'm saying to myself, like, he ain't coming home. So I'm trying to be with my family. And that's how I ended up in Delaware. My grandma
Okay.
told me, Kenny, I'm telling you now, if you leave this house, you can't come back.
Okay.
So now I'm saying to myself, like, man, ain't nothing out here. My
Yeah.
dad ain't here. I'm here with my grandma, who I love dearly, but she's going through her own psychological problem because they executed her brother in 1931 for a crime he didn't commit, and we're
Yeah.
dealing with it today. That case got overturned in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Alexander McClay Williams. The world can look it up. It's coming. This case is history. I'm
Okay.
connected to history. So now now I moved to Delaware, Mark. Now I'm just regular old Kenny G. I don't have no clothes on my back or nothing. I just left my grandmother's. I stepped out on faith. I'm trying to find my brother Lightning Lee, who's the baddest DJ I heard in the state of Delaware.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Okay.
talking about. I'm in Delaware now. So now I'm in Delaware. Listen, I got some swag because my dad was a hustler slash pimp slash intravenous user. You know what I'm saying? But he was the shit. Excuse my language on your platform. My dad was that from what I knew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had to be that because his brother wanted to be him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I've come to find out my dad used to beat on my mom. So
Mm.
like you said,
But
as you grow older, you get to learn the story.
right. We can
So
go back, but
I had a bitterness towards my mom until I start understanding the truth of what's going on. But we
right.
can
But
talk
do
about
this.
that later. I'm in Delaware
Right.
now.
Okay.
With
Okay.
I'm the real Nas that came to Delaware with no change of gear. And guess who I met when I came to Delaware? I met the Baynards. And guess who the Baynards is? You know what I'm saying? Listen, that's who I'm being interviewed by. My brother, Mark Baynard. See what I'm saying? Mark Baynard and them didn't know me. I came to Delaware with nothing but game. I don't have nothing. I don't know nothing. I don't know nobody. But I got my dad's gun with me. You know
tell
what I'm
us.
saying? I'm in
Tell
the
us.
streets of Delaware. I don't have nowhere to stay.
Right.
And a
But
dude
hold on.
named
Hold on. Hold on.
Joe and them, Joe
Right.
and all them. I
Right.
remember that I would just stand in the streets and they liked me because I could rap.
Okay.
And they told me,
Okay.
nah, I tell you what, I'm gonna take you to my people's crib. You can stay with them. So they took me to Mark Baynard's crib. Mark Baynard, Mark B's perspective. And I end up living with y'all. Your mother didn't know me, and she took me in as one of her very own children. And I
That's a
stayed with
fact.
y'all. And that was the
That's a
beginning
fact.
of me becoming Triple OG Kenny G. And I end up being a kingpin in Delaware because I got involved with
But
running
hold
the
on.
street.
But hold on, Kenny. Tell us what some of the things you used to do. You said you rap. What else did you used to do? Because you was on your
I
own,
rapped,
taking care of
I,
yourself.
I stole,
Okay.
and I shot dice. You know what I'm saying? I toted that gun.
Tell the people the age limit so we can get a perspective. People can get a better understanding. The
But
age limit.
let me ask you this. A lot of it, just because it's my story
Okay.
and it's the truth, it's not foggy,
Right.
but the stuff is confused. So what I'm saying to you is, when did you believe that your family took me in when y'all didn't know? How about can we go there? Can you
We
help
was
me
still
with the story? Because
we
you
going
know
back
it
to
too.
teenage. We going back to teenage years. You was a teenager, and like you
Okay.
said,
So what we gonna say? 15, 16?
We could just throw out a number. It was around that time. You know that.
Right. Okay. So
This before the hustling, before you
this
became
is
the
before
king.
grinding. I'm
Right.
shooting dice. I'm
Yeah.
shooting dice. I can fight a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a gun.
Right.
I ain't playing with nobody because ain't nobody playing with me.
Right.
Right. So y'all took me in as your family. And then I remember, as a matter of fact, I remember my gangster got challenged by a dude named Handbone. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Handbone. I remember Handbone. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about Handbone a little bit. See, I had a bicycle and everything when I came to Delaware. And
Okay.
I remember I was staying with Ed and them first.
Right.
Ed and them, Joe and them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And one of their friends' name was Handbone.
Let me add to this. Let me add some perspective.
Yeah, because I'm telling
Let
you,
me
man.
add, let me add some perspective. So you was a pretty boy at the time. You was a pretty boy. You light skinned. You had
Yeah.
swag about you. You knew how to either buy clothes or steal clothes, and you had the frames. But Cazales was hot back then, right?
Yeah, Cazales, Alpinas,
And
you know
you
what I'm saying?
had all
EKs,
that,
all that. I used to
because
steal all that stuff from
you
Granite
should
Run Mall.
still exactly. You should steal that. But let me paint a picture about Handbone. Handbone was one of my older cousin's friends. My older cousin Mike. Him and Handbone was real tight. They smoked weed together, whatever. And we was all up Uncle Joe's house. Now go ahead and you finish. And
Yeah,
Uncle Joe's. Hold
I'm
on, hold
saying
on, hold on, hold on,
all
hold
I
on.
got is the bicycle, Mark. You feel me?
Right. You had the
And I'm
bike.
saying,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I'm trying to find out where I can stay at.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I know through my brother DJ, and Mike was a DJ too.
Yeah.
So Mike and my brother was cool. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Joe and them, this before the hustle and everything, and I had a bicycle. So I went to where I heard my brother might be at DJ because he taught everybody how to DJ. You feel me? So
Yeah.
Mike and them, Mike liked me. So I got a bag full of glasses from the mall, but they ain't got no lenses in them. I
Right.
got gazelles, EKs, I got Alpinas, I got all the fly shit. You know what I'm
Let me
saying?
jump in. Kenny, let me jump in. I remember one time, right? You took me up there. You took me up there, right? And
Uh-huh.
everybody on their own, and we supposed to be getting them. When I tell you, I was scared to death. That was never my calling to take. And Granite Run was a nice mall, had the 2 floors and all that. And we
All
went
that.
to the glasses shop. And I guess y'all probably got some. I didn't get nothing. I was scared to death. You hear me?
Yeah, but I'm
But go
used to
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
Listen, see, I was raised, listen, first of all, you know, I love God and everything, and I know stealing ain't no good because I'm not
Right.
no thief.
Right.
But I'm a
Right.
kid, and all I knew how to do was survive.
Yeah.
And I was this kind of person. If I could steal one pair of glasses, I think I could take the store with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why steal a candy bar when you can steal a box of candy bar? You understand that? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go on the car lot and try to steal 10 cars because I only can get in one and drive off.
Okay.
But I'm looking in the store, I'm saying, like, oh, look at all these glasses, and there's only one person working here. They ain't got
Okay.
no security, they ain't got nothing. I got a
Right.
jacket on, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's tight at
Right.
the waist,
Yeah.
the glasses is in hand reach. And I
So let
always could talk a little bit.
so
So
let,
I'm
let me
talking
let
to
me
the people behind the counter, like, yo, let me see these, bop, bop, bop. So she go turn it, go get them. I done took 3 pairs, put
right.
them in my jacket. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't falling. So when she
Right.
turned back around and tried to show me them, I'm saying, so how much it cost to get the prescription? My eyes a little bad, and you know what I mean. So she turned back around to go get the piece of paper, and all. I done stole 5 more pairs.
Right.
Put them all in my jacket. I said, Miss,
Okay.
let me
So
call my mom. Let me call my grandmom and them so I can find out what kind. Because I need my eyes is bad. Now, and I'm gonna get some lenses put. I think I'm gonna get some lenses put in me. How much is these right here? You know what I mean? See, young man, they're on sale, 2 pair for $79.99. Okay, well, let me go. I'll be back. You know what I mean? Keep these, because I'm coming back. So she said, yes, man, yes, sir. So she put them down and everything. I'll leave that store and I go somewhere else to the mall. Now I'm still in change. Listen, I'm getting everything I can get, and we leaving the mall with a trash bag full of stuff.
right. So let me jump in, Kenny. Because I want to bring the people on. Okay. So at that time, you stealing. You're a pretty boy. You're getting all the girls, and you rap. Before we go to the how you graduated from stealing, talk about the little rap career and how you blew the city up in that aspect. Talk about
Yeah,
that
like
for a minute.
it's like it was like I was Jigga before the rock. I mean, I was LL before the cool because I used to wear the Kangos and all that kind of stuff. Remember that, Mark?
Uh-huh.
So I was that before that. And then not only that, we had a promoter. It was a promoter in Delaware. His name was Din Din,
Godfather Productions.
Godfather Production.
Sure.
The big fat fact. No disrespect to Din
Right,
Din.
right.
He was
Yeah.
a homosexual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Din Din was like a today's P Diddy or
Yeah.
Puff Daddy or whatever you want to call him. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? He was a promoter and everything, and he would rob everybody and have sex with his artists and all that kind of stuff. I'm from the street. Ain't no punk in me. I'm not sleeping with no fags. I'm not being with no man, none of that. But I'm saying my brother is a DJ, but then run Delaware concerning a production,
Yeah.
right? You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, so I remember being at my grandmom's house, hearing my brother was a DJ, so I used to write. So I had a little bubblegum bars and everything, but no, unbeknownst to me, I was hot because I used to live with my boy Kevin. His name was Tut. I used Tut was my bebox.
Yeah.
So matter of fact, before I think I lived with y'all, I lived with Tut underneath his bed. No, that was after y'all.
Yeah.
After I
After it
left
was
y'all, I
after.
went to
Yeah.
Tut and Robin and Deanie's house.
Yeah.
I still ain't got no money enough, but all the girls wanted me. I was a rapper. And then Godfather, I remember I went to my brother's sessions, one of the sessions, and they had on the TV Richard Pryor talking about faggots. And I cut in. I was like, man, I can't stand them punk faggots. And it's like, next thing I know, this fat dude, I guess, I know who's Dinden. Tell her, get him out my house. Get him out my house. So my brother said, come on, you gotta go, G. I'm saying to myself, go. Like, what are you talking about? It said, G, just come out on the porch. Now, I was a little wild and everything. I'm saying, man, I ain't saying nothing, but I ain't saying nothing, but I said something about faggots. That's all I said. Like, what would I do? So my brother take, come on, Jesus, come on, man, come on. So he take me out on the porch. Said, yo, he gay, man. Like, come on, man, that's Dennis Flowers, man. He runs all the shows and everything. Come on, G.
Right.
I'm trying to get this money, man. I'm doing parties and everything. This, that. I didn't know, man. I seen Richard Pryor say something about punks. I said I ain't like punks. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Let
But
me jump
anyway,
in.
so I had
Let
to
me
stay on the porch.
Right. I got you. I just want to jump in for the sake of the people, man. As you said, he was a big time promoter in
Big time.
Delaware, well respected. He was on the north side of town in Wilmington, well respected.
Well respected.
And RIP to him. That's what I'm gonna say on
Amen.
that. Because
Yes, yes,
he
because
got
I was
family.
just a young wild boy, Mark. I'm sorry.
Right, right.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you now. Like
Much
that's just the
respect,
truth.
much respect to him. RIP to
And his
him.
family.
He gone. He got some family members that I love dearly, that I know. So I wanted to make sure I
I
say
love
that
Dixon
too.
dearly. I love his
Yeah,
family
most
dearly.
definitely.
They
Yeah,
helped me in life. I'm just
yeah,
giving you the story concerning
right.
how everything led up to my name, the date, and everything.
Yeah,
Dixon was everything to the city.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He was the biggest
yeah,
promoter moving.
yeah,
Listen, I'm talking about couldn't nothing move through the city without Godfather. You know what I'm saying? Rick Stevens, Godfather. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Your family was strong in the mix. Mike,
yeah,
everybody, the Yayo boys. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm just a young kid that's uh living in the streets, don't have nowhere to. But we were talking about Herringbone too. We forgot about that. My
yeah.
bicycle had Herringbone took my bicycle.
Hambone was a bully. Yeah,
He
yeah,
was a
yeah,
bully.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But
My story is so
and we
complicated and
all
got
we
so
was
many
all
twists
on the
and
north
turns,
side.
Mark.
We was all on the north side on 24th Street. That's where they hung at. That's where they got high at. 202 West 24th Street, where it went down. That's where
It
it was
went
at.
down,
It went down for real.
didn't it?
Yeah. So kind of move forward. You were stealing. You're a rapper. Your name is all over the city. You could practically get almost any female that you wanted. So when did you graduate from that to the hustle game?